Report on this computer. Yeah, today I want to talk about probably the most important, in my mind, form of a market failure. You guys know what a market failure is? We talked about it, I think, in the first 2 weeks of the class, and not much since. But a market failure, it sounds like the market's terrible. It failed. Do you have a comment? Oh, I thought somebody said something. But actually no. Market failure just means it fails to achieve efficiency. That's it. Not that it fails to, like, if you're producing cars and you produce 1,000 cars instead of 2,000 cars. That's not the kind of failure we're talking about. We're not talking about the market fails to provide me with something that I want. That's maybe what people think when they hear the term market failure, but that's not what it means. To an economist, it simply means that the most efficient outcome was not achieved for some reason. And that could be a lot of reasons, but right now let's talk about what, in my opinion, is the biggest one. And that's the concept of the negative externality. I hope you guys have seen this before. I hope this is not the first time anybody's ever told you about a negative externality, but it's a really, really simple concept. The concept is sometimes you do something which imposes a cost on somebody else. If it's a negative externality, somebody else who wasn't really involved in my transaction. If I sell something to, who should I pick? My chair, her name's Leslie Stratton. If I see Leslie and I want to sell something to her and she wants to buy something from me, that's a transaction just between me and Leslie. However, if by doing this I impose a cost on somebody else, then that's a negative externality. It's really that simple. Okay, you guys, can I get a little participation here? Like, can you think of some example of a negative externality?
I have one.
Oh, great, Tina, thank you.
Okay, so like your neighbor can plant like a tree, which is like really pretty, but then the leaves fall in your backyard and it gets kind of annoying. So I guess that's like a negative externality.
Sure. Right. And it's funny because even in my mind, I was thinking an economic transaction, but I don't think planting a tree is an economic transaction, is it? It's free. You don't have to buy the seed of a tree that falls. If it's falls on your property, it's your seed. You're allowed to plant it. But anyways, so I agree that this would be a negative externality. That's an example. So what? So there's some leaves in somebody else's house. That's okay. What about the positive externality though, for living in a more arboreal neighborhood? Isn't that good? That might actually improve the value of that person's home to have a lot of trees, especially if they're mature trees.
Right.
So that's a little ambiguous, but I get it. You know what you hear a lot about neighbors is noise. If people are doing something very noisy, that could be a negative cost. You want to pump your boombox stereo outside as loud as you want, but the neighbors are affected by that. Dave Chappelle talked about this on Saturday Night Live, that he's doing his comedy specials outside in a cornfield, and all these farmers don't like the noise. So they had a town hall meeting about that. But in their defense, if they don't like the noise, that's an example of a negative externality. Dave Chappelle is causing a negative externality on his neighbors who are farmers in Yellow Springs, Ohio. I'm from Ohio. I'm actually from Southwest Ohio, which is relatively close to where Dave Chappelle lives. So I'm familiar with this area. Okay. Negative externalities. So why is it inefficient? How can we say it's inefficient? Pollution is problem. Oh, go ahead.
Isn't it inefficient because like the the company that's causing the negative externality, they're not internalizing the externality a lot of the
Okay.
time.
Okay. So it's inefficient because they're not doing something.
Well, they don't have to face the consequences. Like, I don't know, fracking companies that, cause a lot of pollution and cause a lot
Perfect.
of emission. They don't have to, like, they're not penalized a lot of the time
Yeah.
for the pollution that they cause.
Yeah.
They actually get away with it a lot of the time.
Yeah. What happens with fracking is that gases will seep out into neighboring, sometimes water sources, and there will be people who turn on their faucet, and out comes some type of gas, methane gas, or
Reminds me of when I was in Flint, Michigan. It was kind of like that in the downtown area, the water.
yeah. So Flint, Michigan, may be a different problem. I'm not really sure that was caused by like a business doing something that caused a negative externality. I think that was, I could be wrong about this, but I think that was sort of neglect on the part of the government to not to fix pipes that had lead poisoning. The water system was using a supply of water that they shouldn't have been, because there was a good chance it would be contaminated with dangerous levels of lead, and it was, and they did it anyway. And they, basically to save money. They didn't have money to do what they should with the water system, and so. But see, the reason I can't think of that as a negative externality is that there isn't somebody or a business or a person that is profiting from this, that wants to engage in this activity and doesn't care that it's causing a negative externality on someone else. So pollution is a great example. It's probably the best example of a negative externality, which is the best example of a market failure. So we want to talk in general about how markets fail to achieve the efficient outcome. Just a general statement. Oftentimes that happens. Which one should we pick? Negative externality, pollution, maybe even carbon emissions. This is the hardest negative externality problem humanity will ever face. Do you understand what I'm saying about carbon emissions? Anybody here really, really informed about climate science? Want to give us a little like?
I don't consider myself informed at all. I'm like taking this environmental econ class, kind of making me a little bit more aware.
Yeah.
But I mean, all I know is that like a lot of these companies just get away with it. They don't have to internalize it. I know that somebody proposed like a 50% carbon emissions tax, so they can like pay their fair share. I mean, would that be too much, or do you think that would be? I don't even know. I feel like that
I
wouldn't
don't know
be.
either. I'm hoping we'll have some debates about this, or at least some presentations about this. I guess that's crazy. What's crazy? Okay, well, let me say what I can say as an economist, which is the obvious form of negative externalities are actually pretty easy to fix. The ones where we know who's doing it, we know how much they're doing it, we know how much it's costing the people around, how much it's affecting the people around them. If you have a government that knows what it's doing, it can fix this problem. And I think, Kevin, you sort of mentioned this. It's called internalizing the externality. That means you make this firm care about the costs, the external costs that it's imposing on the third parties that are being put. So in the case of the fracking company, if let's say there's a town of 10,000 people nearby, and all of them can't use their water systems anymore. They have to buy bottled water to drink for a year, and it costs them each, an extra $1,000 to buy all this water for a year. That's kind of an easy way to quantify the negative externality. You're imposing $1,000 of cost on 10,000 people. 1,000 times, that's like $10 million of external costs that this fracking company is imposing And if there's no government, if the government says, well, do whatever you want, this is the Wild West. You want to frack? Go ahead and frack. Those $10 million worth of costs, they don't care about it. They're not going to worry about that. They're just going to do whatever's profitable, and everybody else in the town is going to have to pay those costs. And my point is, in the example I just gave, I gave you numbers. I gave you exact numbers. There's 10,000 people, and they each have a cost of $1,000. Multiply those two numbers, you get $10 million. That cost, what can you do to make things better? So here's where the economics comes in play, because it's not so simple. It's not so simple as to say, just make them pay $10 million to everybody, or make them pay $1,000 to everybody. That actually would not be efficient. Does anybody want to comment on that? Think about it. Why? So I just said, I gave an example. I hope you guys don't mind that I'm not using slides right now. I'm just talking. I just want to rap with you. We're cool. I realize how ridiculous that sounds. I'm wondering if anybody wants to comment. Does anybody agree with me when I said, that's not what we want? We don't want the fracking company to do all this fracking, to cause everyone else to have to buy bottled water for a year, but then the fracking company just pays for the bottled water. So the people in the town are like, well, I mean, I'm a little bit annoyed that I have to use bottled water, but okay, I'm happy that I got all this bottled water free from the company. Is that efficient? Is that what an economist would call an efficient outcome? And I'm arguing no. Does anybody agree or disagree? Colin, do you have a comment?
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree that that's definitely not efficient. I think in the context specifically about the environment, the end goal of internalizing these negative externalities is to end pollution, because even if people are compensated, like in this example, through like monetary compensation, the long term, the environment is still being destroyed, and if there's no planet, there's no economy.
Okay, so let me try to rephrase what you said. The goal should not just be to compensate people after you've done the pollution. It should be for you not to pollute in the first place.
Correct.
And the reason is because whenever you pollute, any amount of pollution I'm taking your point to the extreme. Like, I hope that's okay. I'm making you into a straw man right now for just for rhetorical purposes. I don't really believe that you think this extreme, but let's take this to the extreme. Any amount of pollution, even one drop of pollution into a lake somewhere, is causing a negative effect on the environment, and we, the people, are stewards of the environment, should not let that happen. Therefore, we should tell all businesses, any pollution that you cause, you have to clean up in its entirety. And in fact, it's best if you don't cause it in the first place. And that would be the true, efficient thing to do for an economy. I actually don't agree with that. I mean, okay, so I get his point though. I get the point is that we don't own the earth. We just live on it. If we walk around the earth acting like everything we see is ours and we can do with it whatever we want, then we're being kind of jerks, and we'll probably be dead in 1,000 years because all the resources will be gone. I agree with that point, and I understand it, Colin. But as an economist, I have to push back a little bit and say, that's also inefficient. So I have these two extremes. The first extreme was, it's called laissez-faire. There's no rules, there's no regulations. A fracking company can go in and frack all they want. Oh gosh, I wanted to do something. It's already 10:24. Holy cow, the time went by fast. Okay, so let's just say that extreme is inefficient because you're doing more pollution than you should. Even if the way you solve it is, say, let them do all the pollution and then they have to compensate, they're still doing too much. What you actually need is something in between. So the other extreme is to say 100% total ban of pollution, saying, you know, you are simply not allowed. It is illegal under the law to cause any sorts of pollution. The reason I think that's inefficient is if you think about what all the people of the world care about, the environment is one of the things they care about, but it is, unfortunately for Colin and people who maybe feel passionately about this, the environment is not the only thing they care about. They care about having, you know, a good job. They care about having food and shelter and clothing and what else do people care about? I don't know. They care about reality TV and video games and all kinds of weird stuff. We don't know what they really care about, but economists need to take that into consideration too. That sometimes economic production is a very valuable. It can raise people out of poverty, and it's, you know, you can. There's good things that the economy can do are uniquely available to countries that have thriving economies, and that is prosperity. We have to sort of balance these two things: prosperity on one side and environmental degradation on the other. There has to be some middle ground, and actually economics provides that. So what do? They say internalize the externality, but do it not the way I suggested at first, which is just do the same amount of fracking you would have done and then pay for all the bottled water. You need to do it on a marginal per unit basis, so that at each, here's my point. The real way to internalize an externality is to make firms pay, or in some other ways internalize, the external costs that they are imposing on the margin. And that on the margin is what matters. Because here's the thing, if you're a firm, even if you're a fracking firm, you probably can frack a little bit in a way that still generates some gas, some natural gas for you, and doesn't cause as many external costs on the other people. That could actually be efficient in some way. If they could do it in a way that would keep their pollution down, that would be better. So if we as economists, I'm training you guys to be economists. I'm an economist. I have a PhD in economics, so I'll call myself an economist. What we want is for each firm, each decision maker, to internalize the costs as much as they can, so that when they make their decision, how much should I be fracking? If you're polluting into a river or a lake, and so you have this stuff that you need to clean up before you can dump it into the lake. The question is, how much should I make, and how much money do I need to spend cleaning it before I can dump it into the lake? It shouldn't be, I'm not allowed to dump anything, because if that's true, I won't have the factory in the first place. If the factory is producing something that people need, you have to argue that there's a social good there too. Having the factory that can provide a social good is important also. Okay, so let's do an exercise right now. If you guys are willing to play this game, I want to do something with firms. I guess I'm running out of space. So let's have you all be firms deciding how much of something to create, but it's going to cause a negative externality. I want to talk about the economics of this. That says you guys will play. That's good. I'll put your names in. Oh, where is it? Share. Here we go. Okay, so there are these firms. We got Kevin, Daniel, Tina. Kevin, Daniel. Oh man, I should have left myself more time for you to understand this game, but it's very relevant to what we were just talking about. I'm going to do 4 per Robert. Ryan, Ria, Shrias. Ryan, Ria, Shrias. Emmanuel. Colin, Nick. Is that it? If that's exactly 10, I'll just have 2 groups of 5. If that's it, I'll just have 2 groups of 5. And that will actually be easier for me to conduct. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. You will choose a quantity between 0 and 20, and you'll private message it to me. What will happen based on the quantity you choose? So pretend you're a firm. It's like you're a monopolist right now because you are the only one has control over your quantity and how much of it you sell. But I made this, anyways, it's a downward sloping demand curve. So the revenue that you generate from selling, producing a quantity Q is actually Q times 30 minus Q. Okay, so let's look at, did I get everyone? I didn't get Nick and Colin. I'm gonna put Colin here and Nick here. Did I get everybody? Okay, so let me explain the game really quick. Lee, Kevin, hold your horses yet. Well, I haven't explained the game. I know you. Have you figured it out already? Okay, forget about that third group of people. So these groups of 5 are separate in the sense that the first group of 5, maybe this is Atlantic and this is Pacific. I don't know. Just to keep it up. I should have kept you in the same groups you were in last time. Here's how it goes. I want you to understand everything about this game. Before you make your decision, I want you to understand everything. You choose a quantity, that's Q, less than 20, or it can be equal to 20 if you want. Your revenue is going to be Q times 30 minus Q. And that will, so if Kevin, like let's say he picks 15. Okay, that means your revenue is 225. It gets calculated here. But you cause this pollution, and that's Q squared divided by 8. So if you take Q, which is 15, squared is 225, divided by 8, you get 28.125. And that's just the pollution from Kevin. What happens is the pollution from all 5 of these firms will be added together. Like let's say everybody does 15. Let's see what happens when everyone does 15. Now they each have cause this pollution of 28. The total pollution is down here 140. That is the pollution cost that everyone faces. So it's critical that you understand this. This cost that Kevin produces of 28, everybody has to pay that cost. What Daniel's cost of 28, Tina's of 28, Robert's of 20, all of these costs, everybody pays. So they all pay the sum of the pollution cost. That's what's in this column. You get these first 4 columns? You choose Q, that will determine your revenue, that'll determine your pollution. I add up all the pollutions to get the total, and this will be your pollution cost. Everybody pays the same pollution cost. That's the total of the 5 pollutions of the 5 firms that they're grouped with, okay? And forget about taxes for now. We'll talk about that later. So your payoff will just be your revenue minus your pollution cost. So in this case, let's look at Kevin. He had a revenue of 225, because that's 15 times 30 minus 15. That's 15 times 15, that's 225. He had to pay a pollution cost of 140.625, which means his payoff would be 84.36. Everyone would have the same payoff here. What if instead everyone did like 4? Actually, the payoff's higher, isn't it? Oh, wait, what was it? I just had it. What was the payoff? I think it went down. It was 84. So it went up. I'm sorry, it went up a little bit. But here's the thing: if other people are just choosing 4, that keeps the pollution cost down. Everyone's only paying a pollution cost of 10. So even though their revenue isn't as high, remember when they had 15? Let's go back to Kevin equal 15. He had a pollution of 225, but actually he's making a lot of money now, isn't he? Because he gets this revenue, a high revenue of 225. Everyone else only gets a revenue of 104. And he's causing a lot of pollution. Look how much pollution Kevin is causing, 28 units. Everyone else is only causing 2. this is important that you observe that this is not linear, but quadratic. Pollution is proportional to the square of the quantities. Okay, that means, you know, think of how like a quadratic curve curves up. That's what's happening with your pollution. So a little bit of pollution, a little bit of quantity doesn't really change pollution that much, but the bigger the quantity gets, it grows faster and faster. The rate of pollution grows with Q. So Kevin, who's doing 15 while everyone's doing 4, he's causing like almost all of the pollution is coming from Kevin, just him. You understand that? And everyone has to pay it. Everyone pays the 36.125. So even these guys like Daniel, he's got a revenue of 104. He's got to pay the same pollution as Kevin because it's being imposed on everyone. And this is how your payoff will be determined, equal to your revenue minus your pollution cost. Does everyone understand that? And we'll worry about taxes later. If there's time, we'll start talking about maybe you guys want to impose some taxes. Okay, so now you are ready, I believe. Do some math in your head if you want or on a piece of paper, but you know, you don't know exactly what's going to happen because you don't know what other people are going to do. Taxing these fracking companies. Okay, well, there's no tax right now. Right now, there's no tax. You just choose a quantity. You have a minute. You can discuss briefly, but you know what I'm going to go by is what people give me as their private. Their private. In fact, I'm going to stop. I don't want to stop sharing now, just because I want you to be able to see these formulas. The formula for revenue and the formula for pollution is important. So, and then, you know, you should think of your payoff as being column C minus column E, okay? The revenue minus E, the pollution cost. Okay, I've got Collins, I've got Kevin's. Anybody who's playing, let me know. I've got Ria's. I'm going to stop sharing so that I can. Is that okay? I'm gonna be able to enter your numbers in better if I basically I don't want people to see who haven't submitted their answers yet what the people who have submitted their answers is. How do I do this? I need to see the chat. Come on, hurry! Time is of the essence. Okay. Sorry, let me type it in now. First one is Colin, Kevin, Ria, Ryan, Manuel, Robert, Tina. You guys have got this down, I think, this private messaging, your answers to me, Daniel, and Nick. And, oops, Shreyas. Uh-oh, Shreyas, so you're not playing? Have we lost you? Sometimes your connection isn't so good. Oh, okay, you're still thinking. Got it? Okay, he answered. All right, here we go. Let me share with you what happened. And this will just be the first round. We might play another round if we have time. So let's take a look at the results. Maybe it would help if I hide. Would you like me to hide this stuff about the taxes since right now there are no taxes? There we go. Hide columns. There we go. Okay, so what happened? Everyone made money. My connection is unstable. Oh, geez, that would be bad. I'm the instructor for this class. Okay, the good news is everyone made money. They made a profit. The revenue generated was always greater than your pollution cost, and that was not guaranteed. If everyone produced a really high quantity, you would pollute so much that you would all lose money. So congratulations for not letting that happen. Ryan, ooh, you only made 15 points now. While Shreya said 135. What the? This pollution costs were exactly the same. How is that? Oh, no, 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 no. This is wrong. This is wrong. Sorry. I copied this and I didn't. This should be D20. Yeah, let me fix this real quick. I apologize for my bad Excel. There we go. There we go. Ooh, it's even worse. No, it's a little better for you guys. So the Atlantic polluted more on average than the Pacific, 78 to 88. And yeah, the people who did the best were Shreyas and Nick. What do you guys think about what just happened? Are you happy about it? I'm gonna do. I want somewhere to store these results. Maybe I'll put it on the total page for now, and then I'll get it later. Here you go. This is, sorry, copy, total, paste special values only. Okay, I don't need all these values. I just need to save your payoffs. Okay, so that was your payoffs for round one. You want to do it again? How about this time you guys talk to each other? Is anybody willing to talk? Okay.
I'm willing to talk it out.
Yeah, talk. What should you, if we're going to do it again, what should you do?
All right, Kevin, Tina, Robert, Colin, what do you guys think? I'll go for 10 or what?
I'll even help you out by plugging in the numbers if you want. I've saved. Do you want me to see what happens if everyone does 10?
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone gets 137. Everyone would get 137 that way. What did you do this time? Actually, none of you got 137 the first time. You got, if you all did 10, you would all get more than 137.
I'm okay with that. I'm down for 10. If everyone else is down for 10, I'm down for 10 too.
Can you see what it looks like with everyone doing 9?
Sure. But I can't do this forever. Then you get 138.
How about 7?
How about what?
How about 7?
Everyone 7?
All
130.
right, never mind. I think 9 is cool.
Of course, you can say that everyone will do 9, but I'm gonna go by what you submit to me in your private chat. Just so you know that this is not a game. I don't encourage backstabbing, but I also need to prevent you from forming the sort of commitment device that would stop someone, at least at this point of the stage, from actually choosing whatever quantity they want.
I'm willing to be a fair and honest player and say we all go for 9. I think that was our highest payoff. So if I'm not mistaken.
I'm with Daniel. I feel like it's optimal. We all win. We all get participation credits. We all get stuff added on. Don't be that guy.
If everyone chooses 9 and Kevin chooses 15, what happens? Oh, he gets 156. If he gets 156. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't have done that. What was I doing?
Please
okay.
Don't. Well, me and Colin on the same page. Tina, Robert, everybody. You know.
I'm with you.
All right. I submitted my bid. So
likewise.
Submitted
my bid. Press the light.
Yikes! Double yikes. Okay, I'm starting to get answers here. I'm gonna stop share so that I could put them in. All right. I'm gonna stop share. Okay, we're gonna see what happens with this negative externality. Does everyone see how this is a negative externality? Every time you produce some pollution, it's a cost that everyone has to pay. So you're imposing your pollution costs on 4 other people. So that's the negative externality part of this. Okay, let me see who I have for round 2. I have Daniels in round 2. I need this chat to stay up. What is up with that? Okay, here we go. I think I got it. No. Come on. This is not good. I got Daniel. I've got Colin. Round 2. I've got Robert. Round 2. I've got Emmanuel. What do you think is going to happen? So it sounds like the Atlantic was going for this voluntary reduction, or voluntary. It sounds kind of like the Paris Accords here, where everyone says, let's all just we can still produce things, but we do it in a way that minimizes our oh wait, Nick, you changed? Nick, you changed. All right, since I haven't said anything, I think Ryan, I have yours, right? Ria, have you given me your round 2? Ria, I don't see your round 2. If I did, maybe I missed it. Oh, got it. Okay, that's everybody. Let's see what happened. Do you guys think everyone chose 9? Do you have faith in humanity, or do you not have faith in humanity? Let's see what happens. Okay, here we go. This is round 2. No, not everyone chose 9. Kevin chose 15.
Why did I know it was going to be Kevin?
And he got 156. He got the most points this time of anybody.
Of course, I was going to be Kevin.
He's rich. The rest of you guys are actually, you're still doing better, probably on average, than you did last time.
Well, Professor, I kind of blame you too. You kind of put the idea in his head.
Well, I had to at least explain the game to you. I didn't want everyone to think that you had to choose 9. This is sort of this decentralized. Honestly, I'm going to make the case for government intervention now. What could we do? Let's do one more round of this. One more round where there's a tax. Okay, so here I've saved now your first round and your second round payoffs. Let's put it here. Okay, so actually everyone did well this second round. I mean, you know, first round Ryan only had 25 points, but this time he made at least 131. Everyone's doing pretty well. Would you like to impose a tax? Do you think you need a tax? So basically round 1 was just everyone kind of on their own deciding. Round 2 seemed to be about forming some kind of organization on your own, some sort of voluntary organization. It almost worked. There were some shenanigans going on, but it almost worked. What would happen if there's a tax? Let me go to the pollution. Yeah. You can make a tax that also has a rebate. In other words, anything that's taxed, unhide columns. So let me see what would happen in this same case, but there was a tax per unit of, like, say 0.5. If it's 0.5, what happens now is that it's actually pretty low payment here, isn't it? Oh, it should be more like 5. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, that's better. Then what's going to happen is Kevin will be taxed for going up to 15, up to 75. The rest of you will be taxed. So you're taxed T times Q. So if T is 5 and Q is 15, 5 times 15 is 75. You see how Kevin was taxed more than everybody else? You see that? What's this rebate? The rebate is we're going to take everyone's total tax in this group, which is 255, and split it 5 ways and give it back to you. So your payoff is now your revenue minus your pollution costs. That's just like before. That's exactly as before. But now you have to subtract your tax payment. In this case, Kevin paid 75, and there's a rebate of 51. In this case, you know, he would still be better off. Maybe the tax isn't high enough. What if you increase the tax to, say, 20? Now look how bad Kevin is doing. Kevin went up to 15, but he got taxed so high, 30, and he went back to every other people are making money here because they're being paid by Kevin and his taxes. Do you understand what's happening here? I like that this was 9,999.15. So if the tax per unit is 20, Kevin has to pay a tax payment of 300. His revenue is only 225. He's sure he's getting back this rebate, but his payoff is lower than everyone else's. What did this tax rate do? It actually made the person who sort of in a greedy way increased their quantity. It made that person lose money. Do you understand? And the question is, maybe now, what tax rate should we choose? You know what? There's no time to choose. I'm just going to set it at, what if I set it at 10? Or maybe, so 10 works too. Look what happens at 10. Kevin still lost money at 10, didn't he? I'll make it 10 here. I think that'll work. Yeah. What happened here with 10? Now the people who did the best are Ryan, Ria, and Nick. Whereas the people who had the higher quantity, because they had to pay such a high tax, they're actually doing worse. Do you guys understand how the tax works? Maybe I went really quickly. I wish I had more time, but the conversation in the beginning was so fun. I didn't leave myself enough time for this. Do you guys understand how the tax works? It's T times Q. Good, thank you. So T times Q is what it's going to be. So if you're one of these high, what if Kevin went all the way up to 20? You know, if he went all the way up to 20, yes, he's causing a lot of pollution here, and that's bad. And he's got this huge tax payment. Look how low his payoff would be then, only 21. If he goes up to like 25, he's going to be losing money. Yeah, if he goes up to 25, he's in the negatives. Anyways, this is the world that I want to try now. I was going to have you guys choose your own tax payment. There's no time. Let's just make it 10, tax per unit. The tax rate is 10, okay? So you have to pay a tax of T times Q, which will be totaled and given back as a rebate to the 5 members of the group. And what's the economics behind this? Now, if you're one of these people who's like, I don't care if everyone wants to do 9, I'm going to do 15 to make my money. I got to have my coin. You're going to end up paying more because of the taxes. Now, should everyone choose 0? Are the taxes enough? Like 1? No. I mean, it doesn't make sense to not produce this thing. So the taxes don't distort your incentives that much. They only distort your incentives if you're the person who's making a lot more than everyone else, producing a lot more than everyone else. Okay, guys, can I get your answers? Is this round 3? This will have to be our last round because we're running out of time.
Are we gonna do the right thing this time, guys, or is Kevin gonna act up?
Oh, sorry, Emmanuel, you sent that to everyone. I can't use that. You have to go by a private message. This is with tax. This is round 3, final round, tax per unit of 10. So Emmanuel, you need to send another private message to me. Sorry, go ahead. Whoever was talking, was that Daniel?
No, I just wanted to know if we were actually going to collaborate this time, or unless Kevin wanted to be selfish.
I mean, if we all pick 20, then Kevin loses.
No,
what do you think we should do?
Wait a second, that's not true.
Oh, darn.
Let's look what happens. If you all pick 20, then you're all going to pay all these high taxes. What is it now? Yeah, you would all lose 50 points. That's true. You would all lose 50 points. I don't think you should do that though, because the other group is going to earn points. And remember, these are points that matter for your class. I want you to care about them. All right, so anybody who sent me a private message since I like the rebate system a lot. Okay, I'm going to count that as your final message. If you want to change it quickly now, you can, but we are very low on time. So I'm going to do this now. I know some people have another class they might need to get to, so I'm going to start loading. I'm going to start entering. Sorry, every time I try to get both screens up at once, it causes me problems. All right, here we go. I've got Nick. I'm not sharing, am I? I don't think I'm sharing. I've got Nick. I've got Colin. I've got Ria, round 3. I've got Emmanuel. No, that's to everyone. Trias, that's to everyone. I've got Robert's answer, round 3. Emmanuel sent me a private one. Okay, I'll go by that. Trias sent me a private one. Tina submitted her answer. Kevin submitted his. And Daniel his. Ryan Carter, yes. Got you. All right, this is everyone. This is the final round. Let's see what happened. First of all, do you think the taxes are a good thing? Do you think it's good to have these taxes? This is what I wish I had more time to talk about. We will talk about it more later. but it's something that an economist might create to disincentivize people from causing too big of a negative externality on others. That's the whole point of these taxes. And by the way, there's a name for them. It's named after an economist called Pigou, and they're called Pigouvian taxes, after the economist who wrote about them. Okay, here's what happened. We had in the Atlantic, we had Kevin doing 12. Kevin did 12, and it actually cost him. He earned less because of that. He did 12, Daniel 10, everyone else 9. The person who did the best was Daniel with the 10. Kevin with 12 actually hurt himself because of his higher tax payment. Okay, how about in the Pacific? The person who did the best was Nick with 10. Nick with 10 did the best. Ryan went up a little bit to 11, but remember, because of this tax payment, he paid a little bit more, but really this is pretty much all the same. It really looks all the same, doesn't it? There's hardly a difference in this one. But your total payments actually were pretty good, weren't they? I think you did better with the taxes than without, with this whole tax payment and tax rebate system. So this is one takeaway from this lesson, is that if left alone, negative externalities are inefficient. It causes people to choose too high of a quantity. They're hurting themselves on the whole by imposing all these costs on each other. You can try to solve the problem on your own, and you almost did in round 2, just by talking to each other and forming some kind of an organization that says, here's what we think we should do. Let's all do it. But even better than that, I think, the data will show that even better than that, just talking it out, is having a tax, having a government that can say, every time you pollute, every time you produce this quantity which causes pollution, we're going to tax you at this rate, and that will do it. Even no one chose more than 12 in the round 3. So that's really good. Thank you guys for participating. Sorry I went over again. Let's next class we're going to sorry, I forget who is talking. Maybe I want to give this person, whoever it is, a chance to delay till Friday if they want, but let me find out really quickly. Is that guy here, whoever's, oh no, this is the wrong one. Do you know who's debating on Wednesday? Are you here? Course documents. Debate schedule. This is November 11th. It says Ryan Carter. Ryan, are you here? No. Oh, okay. So do you want to give your debate on Wednesday? It would be against no one. If you want, I can push it back till Friday, and you and the guy on Friday could just go at the same time.
Yeah, sure. That sounds good.
You would rather do that? Do it on Friday?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna have a strange week this week, and that is cap and trade and is that it? Cap and trade.
It's the Green New Deal.
And the Green New Deal, we'll do it on the same day. I hope that's okay, Tina.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, that means you'll both be arguing for maybe different solutions to the climate crisis. And Ryan will be saying that a cap and trade system is a good, efficient way to make businesses control their carbon emissions on their own. If they get too much, they can trade. And Tina will talk about the Green New Deal as like a massive stimulus spending, and arguing that it's worth it to spend all this money because it'll maybe save us money in the long run. But let's delay, if you don't mind. There's more I want to talk about for externalities, and then on Friday we'll have both of those people go. Is that weird? Is that okay? Okay.
Yes.
Let's end class. So we'll have our debate on Friday and not Wednesday. See you guys. Thank you for participating.